Conor McGregor, a 2-division Cage Warriors champion, came into the UFC, became the very first UFC 2-division champion. What he did in Cage Warriors, he did the same thing in the UFC. And Pereira, who's also in his past a 2-division champion in Glory Kickboxing, comes into the UFC and is now the champion. And now Pereira is now the champion. You need to ask, what is his motivation? Because at first he did this, he wanted to become a champion because he wanted to have what Izzy has. He saw that Adesanya, a guy that he beat twice, one time, knocked him out, and now has massive success in the UFC. He sees the guy having all that success. He talked about how he watched him and how he paid attention to what he's doing. So what he did is coming from jealousy. Now he's doing this to have what Adesanya has, which is all the fame, all the glory, all the gold. So now Pereira wants to have what Adesanya has, but now that he has all those things, what is he gonna do now? Because you're only gonna make a ton of money when you're defending your belt, because now you're a champion, now you're getting pay-per-view points, and most times you're probably the main event. So if you're the main event, you're also going to get a main event bonus. So that's a lot of money, that's a lot of fame, a lot of glory. But now what are you gonna do? Because eventually you're gonna have a lot of it, and eventually you're gonna have too much. But before that you get to too much, you first have to get to enough. Once you have enough money, then you're gonna start to get too much money. But when you start to get too much money, what are you gonna do now? What now are you chasing? Are you now chasing the fame, more money? Or is it a legacy? Is it for the glory? Is it for all the things that come with it? Is it for the title? Is it to become somebody, not just in an organization that nobody knows about, but in an organization where everybody knows about, which is the UFC? Is he trying to leave a legacy behind? What is he trying to do? And if you really do want to leave a legacy in the sport, what better way to do it than to become a 2-division champion? If Pereira can do such a thing, that would be incredible. It would be different from the path that every other double champ took. Amanda Nunes didn't do that. Conor didn't do that. Triple C did not do that. Daniel Cormier too. They did not have that fast of a title shot and then get a shot at the next weight division gold. So another reason why I believe that this could be a possibility, or why I'm asking the question, is because of how Pereira is such a massive guy. And he's not in the light heavyweight division because his mentor, his coach, his longtime best friend is in that division. And I know a lot of people that will tell you that Glover Teixeira will win against Prohaska. But if you really ask them and tell them to bet their money on it, they would not tell you Prohaska, because they're simply telling you that Glover Teixeira is gonna win because they like Glover Teixeira. In reality, they really do believe that Prohaska will win. So if Prohaska wins, what happens to Glover Teixeira? Because this whole thing of Pereira becoming a two-division champion is solely based on Glover Teixeira leaving that division or retiring. And if Pereira becomes a two-division champion, what a legacy that he would leave. But at first, he would have, which is not very easy to do, he's going to need to convince his mentor to leave his division, which I don't think that he will tell Glover to please leave your division. He's not that type of guy. And we have seen this with Cormier and Cain Velasquez, where after Cain Velasquez is done, DC become a two-division champion at heavyweight. So maybe if Glover Teixeira leaves, maybe if Glover Teixeira leaves, that is Pereira's cue to come in and become a two-division champion. Because we've heard Joe Rogan talk about this stuff of sanctioned cheating and how he's cutting a lot of weight just to go into a division where he doesn't really fit into, but he's cutting all that weight down. He's cutting all that weight down just to get into a division where he doesn't belong to. And I don't really entirely agree with Joe Rogan, because if you cut a lot of weight, it's also a disadvantage. But I do understand what he's trying to say. Well, a good solution to that problem is him going up to 205. And if he goes up to 205, that would fix all the problems that Joe Rogan is talking about. And I do feel like that Pereira does want that. He does like that idea. But I don't think that he's think about it. And why would he think about it? His best friend, his mentor, is in that division. So if Glover Teixeira is not the champion and he goes up heavyweight or he retires, then that could be Pereira's cue to come into that division, become a two-division champion if he can win, and leave a legacy that people will see, rather than having a legacy and glory that nobody knows about, cares about. And I'm not trying to offend what Pereira's done. He's done incredible things in glory, but if you can become a two-division champion in the UFC, that's very different from becoming a two-division champion in glory. And if you can become a two-division champion in the UFC, you would be joining the few list of people that became a two-division champion. And you wouldn't just be doing it like how they did it. You would be doing it the fastest